Anime has its rules. Shonen heroes get power-ups. Romance leads never say how they truly feel. You've seen the pattern thousands of times. But these 10 anime decided these rules don't apply to them. This is the ultimate anime bucket list. Your complete guide to the anime that matter most. Look, I'm not really in the mood for a magical girl anime right now. I remember one night we were trying to figure out what to watch when Madoka Magica came up as a suggestion, and that was my response. We proceeded to watch it anyway. Now, magical girl anime is well known for its cute girls, colorful transformations, and happy-go-lucky attitudes, and uses that knowledge against you in one of the greatest pieces of work you'll ever experience. The animation is every much stunning as it is strange. And you can thank Shaft, the same studio behind the Monogatari series, who never make anime that behaves itself, to be honest. Which is why you need to come into this anime cold. Enjoy the ride, because wherever you think Madoka Magica is heading after episode 1, hold that thought. I, like many others, remember vividly watching Fully Cooley on that iconic programming block Toonami. And I also remember enjoying every chaotic second of it. It's because of this girl right here. Naoto's perfectly ordinary life gets completely upended by this pink-haired girl. And what follows? Just aliens, giant robots, and the end of the world. Nothing too important. Fully Cooley operates on a totally different wavelength, but has a very real symbolism that took me an embarrassingly long time to notice. This anime is so iconic and so successful, Toonami tried not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times to recapture the magic. Look, you can watch them if you want, but in all honesty, the original one is the only one you'll ever need. Nichijou is one of the best comedy anime ever produced, and the reason is because it completely leans into the absurd, but totally normal by Nichijou standards. This show takes place in a quaint little town with the oddest ensemble cast that you could think of. There is a plot, but honestly, does it matter? What makes Nichijou so special? The random vignettes sprinkled throughout each and every episode. And they have nothing to do with the story, but everything to do with messing with your mind. With one in particular pulling straight from his other bizarre manga series. What I love about Nichijou is how it takes a mundane slice of life setting and treats every moment like it's life or death. All the drama of a final boss battle, yet it's super funny. Great Might Poo, eat your heart out. If you watched anime in the late 2000s, then you know that Haruhi Suzumiya was virtually inescapable, and for good reason. A girl obsessed with the paranormal decides to start a club to find them. She drags the endlessly sardonic Kion along for the ride, whether he wants to or not. Sound familiar? There are clear parallels to Dandadan. Part sci-fi, part parody, part fantasy, all wrapped up in a quirky yet kinda ordinary slice of life. That's what makes Haruhi so special. It's versatile, so it doesn't surprise me not one little bit that Dandadan was inspired from something like Haruhi. One thing I love about the history of Haruhi is that they famously aired the episodes out of order, and the anime community totally lost it. Man, the songs here are total bangers and will live rent-free in your head. And don't forget Kyoto Animation's signature polish. Haruhi is a time capsule and a genuine classic and deserves your attention. I got this anime as a gift from someone who did not know a thing about anime. However, I do remember her telling me that she did go to Best Buy and ask one of their employees for a recommendation for a gift for an anime fan, and I guess this is what they came up with. Shout out to that Best Buy employee, wherever you are. Tekkonkinkreet is one of the most underrated anime on this list, and it's quite impressive. The story follows 2 orphan boys who run the streets of Treasure Town. This place is a vibrant metropolis, overrun by gangs and corruption. The graffiti-inspired aesthetic bursts with color, with sound designs that hit you like a ton of bricks. Treasure Town itself feels like a living, breathing character. Part American, part Brazilian, part Asian. A cultural mashup that absolutely has no right to be as cohesive as it is. And the main characters, black and white, couldn't be any more different. One is ruthless and fearless, while the other is innocent and gentle. But together, they make up one terrifying team. And it's because these two kids are willing to protect each other at all costs. The emotional core of this film is what will make you feel the opposite of what you'd expect. Oh, and that Minotaur scene? Pure work of art. Tekkonkinkreet is one of the most interesting films you will ever watch in your lifetime. What happens when you put up a sarcastic NEET, a narcissistic goddess, a masochist crusader, and a way too overconfident sorceress on the same adventure party? One of the funniest anime you'll ever watch is what you get. The isekai genre has a formula. Guy dies, guy enters new world, guy gets cheat powers, guy saves everyone and becomes the savior of the town. Konosuba takes that entire formula, sets it on fire, and laughs at its ashes. Everyone in this party is selfish, dysfunctional, and absolutely terrible at their job. If you've ever watched Sunny, that energy of deeply flawed people making everything worse while somehow remaining completely lovable, Konosuba is exactly that in anime form. And you'll be shocked with just how crazy things get. If this list has you realizing anime is a lot weirder and better than you thought, good. Subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next. 7 more themes to go, and it only gets more interesting from here. Remember when I mentioned earlier that Nichijou is one of the greatest comedy anime ever created? Well, Gintama is right up there, if not really the GOAT. In a world where aliens have taken over and samurai are no longer needed, we have one samurai running an odd jobs business out of pure stubbornness. His name is Gintoki, and his totally unhinged nature makes this show as remarkable as it is unpredictable. I just love how committed to the bit this anime is. The jokes come at you fast and relentlessly, and they have no shame dedicating entire episodes to that gag. Forrest Gump must have had Gintama in mind when he compared life to a box of chocolates, because you never know what you're gonna get. And I don't care if this movie predates the anime and the manga. I still know what I'm talking about. Breaking expectations is the crux of Gintama, but it's not only because it's so absurd. Some of the most emotionally devastating and hypest moments happen, and you don't see it coming. Let me be upfront with you. Gintama is a hefty series. Over 300 episodes plus movies, but just start with episode 1. Don't stress about anything else and just enjoy the ride. Odd Taxi is one of the most brilliant anime ever made, yet nowhere near enough people are talking about this on the regular. Set in a Tokyo populated entirely by anthropomorphic animals, a mild-mannered walrus named Odokawa is a taxi driver who listens to stories. Lots of stories. One of these stories involves a missing girl, and this pulls Odokawa into something far bigger and more dangerous than he ever would have known. This anime rewards attention in a way that very few shows do. Every conversation matters. Every throwaway detail pays off. It builds like a slow burn mystery that suddenly snaps into focus and leaves you completely floored. The music is also top tier, especially that banger opening theme. And boy, genuinely it has one of the most satisfying endings in all of anime. Odd Taxi looks like a gentle, quirky slice of life on the surface, but there is so much more to it. It's one of the most underrated anime of all time. Full stop. If you think isekai never existed before Sword Art Online, here's proof. A boy named Shu is walking home from school when he witnesses a girl being chased by dangerous abductors. After trying to help, he ends up transported to another world. One that is desolate, arid, and ruled by a militaristic psychopath who is #1 on my most hated villains list. Poor kitty, he can rot in. What makes this anime so different and so genuinely unsettling is that it feels so real. War, famine, a hopelessness feeling that no one seems to know how to fix. Maybe a little too real. That suffocating feeling of a broken world with no solution stays with you long after the story ends. There's no power fantasy, no escapism, not even a hero's welcome. It honestly doesn't feel like your typical isekai at all. However, it's why you need to watch this compelling masterpiece. Steins Gate is widely considered one of the best anime stories ever told. But I will admit, this one is a bit of a slow burn, especially in the beginning. However, there is a purpose. Now, I don't want to spoil a single thing, so I have to be very careful with my words. Rintaro Okabe is a self-described mad scientist, and will remind you of this constantly. He runs a makeshift laboratory out of his apartment and stumbles upon something that changes everything. What this anime revolves around is not a new concept at all, but how they execute it is. Steins Gate has a little bit of everything. Mystery, intrigue, romance, and of course, science! Not to mention one of the most emotional second halves you'll ever watch. And it'll boggle your mind how unassuming and quickly the story shifts. So remember, no matter how droll it may get, stick with it, you won't regret it. 10 anime, each breaking the norms of the medium. From comedy that treats grocery shopping like the end of the world, to isekai with no power fantasy. Anime continues to break barriers, and you need to watch every single one of them. Now here's what I want from you. Pick the one that caught your eye and just watch it. Then tell me your thoughts in the comments. Or if you've already seen them, tell me which one of them was the most impactful to you. I genuinely want to know. 40 down, 61 to go. This is the ultimate anime bucket list, and if you don't want to miss a single one, you know what to do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.